to
This conference will now be recorded.
uh, is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Let's start with the today's topic, which is interoperability of hardware to web services and API. Firstly, we have to know what is the meaning of interoperability. The meaning of the interoperability is to the difference of the web services, uh, difference between the web services and for the hardware and the APIs, so that we can know how to use our hardware with the web environment, how to use and how to access our APIs from that services, and what are the differences, what are the roles of APIs and web services, how it will work when we are going to use it. Now I'm sharing my second screen. Uh, Firstly, we will introduce introduction. Actually, sir, Vijay sir, uh,
Oh, Hanji, sir.
oh, okay, fine. Actually, write down this. Introduction. Let's start with the introduction. What uh, im- uh, interoperability of the hardware is related to the embedded web technology. Firstly, we have to know where the embedded web technology is developed and why it is developed, and where and what are the applications, and how can we it use in our daily lives or our projects. So let's embedded web technology was developed by the member of NASA, Lewis Research Center, and it was modified in 2002. And embedded web service server is practical approach of the implementation of TCP/IP protocols on the microcontroller. And by implementing TCP/IP stack on a microcontroller, we can control, monitor device states through a web. That means we can control our anything just like LED, fan, switch, boards from the microcontroller from a web panel. That is the that is here we are talking about. The function of the web server is to server web page. The actual web page is loaded into the standard web browser. The simple we are web browser we used like Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, and Microsoft Edge browser. We can use it with the locally or globally, but to control the devices by just write down the some code for the our hardware to interact with the through backend code to the our hardware related code. Now we are moving to the second slide. The system should be always connected over Ethernet, LAN, or Wi-Fi. The meaning is same. Either we are using locally or globally. We can access it. It is totally depends upon us how we can use it, and what are the application of we want to develop. Is it working for local area or global area? So if we are using a local area, then we can connect our hardware to the locally, and over LAN or Wi-Fi local network or same network. And if we are using it globally, then we provide the our server to global IP and access it from anywhere, just like your Ola Uber car. you can just book the car from your phone. That is your totally IoT based application, and interacted to the hardware that tell the where is your car is moving towards, and when it arrived to you, and how much time it will take to you to the destination, just like things. The web page is accessed by giving IP address provided to the embedded web server. Web page is simply just you can provide it by a domain name, or you can provide it with IP. Basically, uh, when you get the IP of a global, you can make it your name, just like abc.com. But the backend of that abc.com, you have a global IP which work for you to access it your abc.com from anywhere. Embedded web technology basics. So embedded web technologies basically have four parameters. Consist of four parameters: embedded system, embedded web server, client server model, HTML, and XML. We will discuss about these four parameters one by one. Firstly, we will discuss about the embedded system. What is embedded system? Maybe all of you attending the last session, so maybe you are familiar with the embedded system. What is embedded system and how it used, uh, and according to me, an embedded system is a computer that system is a combination of computer processor, computer memory, and input-output peripheral devices that has dedicated function with a large mechanical or electrical system. It is embedded as a part of complete device, often including electrical or electronics hardware and mechanical parts. Because an embedded system typically control physical operation of the machine that it is embedded within. It often has real-time computing constraint. That means a, a single chip can do lot of tasks. It has memory, it has input output device, peripherals, and it is designed to do a specific function, just like your calculator. Simple example of your embedded device is a uh, calculator. Just to design to specific, just calculate the number and give the value of that number according to the operations, either it's plus, minus, division, or multiplication. So now comes to the application part. Uh, Application of the embedded system. What are the let's come we will discuss about the application, why we need and how can we, where can be used it the embedded system. Embedded system are commonly found in consumer, industrial, automotive, home appliances, medical, telecommunication, commercial, and military applications. Em- Embedded application you can use in daily life, just in your hand. Your mobile phone is an embedded device. Your uh, uh, calculator is an embedded device, and industrial, automotive, you can do this machine, provide us some uh, provide just dedicated task to the machine to do just packing work. That is your dedicated function to the industrial application. Automotive industry in the now era, you see in the uh, uh, your car has a lot of features with the back. You can measure, see the distance between either your car is touching behind or not. Sensor are working in it, and a lot of other things. Home appliances, you have just example of your induction and electric chimney, various example of home appliances. And the medical industry, you have seen various large application of medical in medical industries. Uh, that is the X-ray machine, MRI machines, and a lot of others. Telecommunication is the way in telecommunication where we have to calculate the distance over the air. We can calculate the calculating machines in is the example of embedded system. Commercial and military application. Military applications, there are a lot of tanks with the embed the devices in the to detect the landmines or missile anti-aircraft system are a lot of the example of the embedded system. So now comes to the second point. What is embedded web server? Embedded web server is a microprocessor or microcontroller based embedded system that contains an internet software suite as well as application for code for monitoring and controlling external systems, such as such as a system can serve web page over a TCP IP network, allowing any browser with access to network the ability to control and monitor devices connected to the embedded web server. In this picture, you can see the web browser where the speedometer can shows the value. Uh, just you can see on the highway where you can go on the highway at mm, around 80 kilometer per hour speed. Then you have a, a measuring your speed measuring device is connected at the highway, so that can detect your speed and send to the server that will tell, and someone is the monitoring room and he will tell us the vehicle just passed on that has 80 kilometer hour, please chase it and catch him. So that is the example of embedded web server. Why we need the embedded web server? The embedded web server is specially suited to embedded internet appliances and offer easy connectivity to any network via Ethernet or dial-up modem connection. Our goal is to provide an internet-enabled device that can be accessed remotely over a network through which an operator sitting on a remote computer terminal can monitor and control other connected equipment. Such a device may find application in office and industrial automation, high-speed gaming, and medical science, a few names. This is why we need the embedded web server. As I described earlier, the embedded web server, we can monitor it from anywhere if we access it globally. We can provide a just a global IP to the server, so we can access it from anywhere. You can see a Lloyd ad in the television. His brand ambassador is Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, and he shows his how he control the uh, AC from anywhere. Just turn on his phone and open the application and controlling the his AC from anywhere. Just clicking on button or off button, and minimize the temperature and increasing the temperature by through controlling that app. This is the main example of web server. It is possible via the you uh, why due to the just you can provide a single IP to the global server, and you can give the instruction to AC. What is the work? What is the next instruction to the what is his current task is doing? He's normally doing the 17 degree, and you just want to change the at 25 degree. You just click on to set the temperature at 25 degree from anywhere you can set, and it will work as according to your instructions. Journal structure of embedded web server. In the journal, embedded web server is a hardware system. In hardware system, a microprocessor is there, flash memory in the microprocessor, DRAM, yani, DRAM memory, network interface, from front application system for of hardware. That means the a hardware system designed to uh, specific doing a task. Uh, you have to follow the hardware system as a microprocessor. You have to a microprocessor which have flash RAM, DRAM, and network interfaces just like LAN, Wi-Fi connectivity, and to controlling that device, you have to mention it by your hard-coded values, or you can access it via your application through LAN or Wi-Fi. You can design a front-end applications for it. And the software system for the hardware embedded system, central processing module that is used to processing the instructions from the incoming from user, and from the microcontroller previously set by earlierly set by the user while he is doing programming. HTTP engine request from the websites or web server, and the file system, and configuration module, how to configure your module according to the scenario of your latest instructions. Security module, what are the security? Is it a security? It is security based, or it is without security. If you have security based, you can only you can access your machine. If you have no security, you can anyone can access your machine. Is it sometimes is it is beneficial, or sometimes it is sometimes it is not good for the secure user point of view. Application program interface, API is the main role whenever we designed a software to application will interact to the web panel to backend to the code. So API is the main role. This is the main block diagram of embedded web server. Here we have a microcontroller which have lot of components. just like power supply, keypad, LCD, relay driver, RJ45 jack, Ethernet controller, signal conditioning, analog sensor. Here we have to tell you just you can a controller is nothing without the power supply. If you have power supply, then you can turn on your machine, and after that, secondary work is starting. Your code is starting. If you have not power supply, then you can't do nothing. Power supply is connected to the keypad where we can give the instruction or write down the code into the microcontroller, and LCD is the displaying device where we can see what are the code written in the microcontroller and what is it showing to us, either it's a temperature value or humidity values, just like that. And relay driver controlling is a controlling device which is controlled to the at the specific 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 input voltage or current. And RJ45 is supported to the Ethernet controller, which is controlled to the Ethernet jack, where we can connect our LAN. And Ethernet controller is the card where we detect the our LAN card, and after that Ethernet controller to the microcontroller. And signal conditioning and analog sensor, all these sensors are available in the market, are analog, and we have to convert that analog sensor into the digital values and provide signal to the microcontroller in the which it accepted by the ADC. The ADC main work is analog to digital converter, and where the minimizing the number of steps, the accuracy of the sensor is higher. The number of step size is increases, the value of the sensor is fluctuated if the step sizes are increased. If they have lower step size, the sensor value have the almost correct values. And microcontroller is the part where it can handle all the instruction from the either LAN card or analog sensor or LCD or relay driver, power supply, keypad. It will control all the equipment from it. It's to attach it. Now moving on another slide. Embedded web technology is third part is a client server model. In this scenario, a client server model is I'm showing here, in which a client will raise the request to the server, uh, raise to the server, and server responds their request as he want. Just like I'm searching for the anything on the Google, just anything searching on the internet, and it responds according to the what I search over the internet. Then it responds back to the client. From that point of view, I'm the client and the Google is my server. So it is showing here client a logical entity and initiate a request for data for an action to take place. Client will request, and server according to that perform the task. What is he want to, that he will give to that thing according to their request. Server a complementer complementary logical entity to a client. Basic autonomy of web to transfer information in the request response manner. Both the web services and the web browser must talk the same language. If we talking about the web autonomy, the web server and the web browser must have, web services have same language. If we are using HTTP, then backend should be in the HTTP language. Then that language, because if we are just normal day life, if I'm talking in Hindi and someone is from south side, he's talking me to in the their native language, just like Malayalam or anything else, I can't understand. If I'm not understanding what is he saying, then how can I process that thing? If we are understanding each other language, if I know Malayalam, then he's talking to the Malayalam, then I can understand, I can exchange the things, or exchange the exchange the information between us, so we can do task quickly. And the language is called the web services, and the web browser language is hypertext transfer protocol, uh, HTTP. HTTP is built on another standard protocol such as TCP/IP. What is now comes to the point, what is HTML? HTML is the hypertext markup language, and HTML is a language that is used to describe a web page. If we are something write down on the web page, we can't do directly write on the web page, because it has some format to write the code on the web page. We can write it in that format, so we can write in that form that then we can show, we can check what we are writing on it. Otherwise we can't check on the what we are writing on it. Just a little example from down here, HTML doc. This is the example. HTML doc HTML body. Then firstly we have to start the header, then start with the body, then the header example. H1 is starting a header example for the heading, and second parameter for the paragraph example, where we can write down the para, and after that body end, where the body of this web page is to be end, and the HTML after ending the slash HTML for the ending the HTML page. And how what we can see on the web page, a header example, which we write down here, a header example. A header example is there, and a paragraph example is here. We can write it as long as we can do. You can see on the blogs, where you can check it on. Next thing is web pages and web browser working. Web pages and web pages from the embedded system or server that are transmitted to the web browser. The web pages which implement the user interface presentation layer. The web browser, when we check on the pages on the web browser, the request from the generated from the embedded device, that send some code to your web browser to access it in the form of just like here we show the HTML code, just like we have to written some code in the our code, so we can check in the web page same thing is working or not. Web enabled devices use the HTTP hypertext transfer protocol standard to transmit web pages from the embedded system to the web browser. Web enabled devices, any embedded devices transfer the normal code from their machine to the server. It will follow the HTML set of rules or protocols so that it can easily show your content over the internet or over the local host, local browser. You can check it on that. And to transmit HTML hypertext markup language from the data from the browser back to device. And the you can check if you are using a device which is controlling by your local host, you can write some code into your device. You have to send the request to the server. This is the to your local server, and you have to publish on that server. You have to publish it on that web server, local web server. You access it by its name or its IP. It's a predefined IP. You can check it on the web browser, and the content which you write on the web browser, you have to control. You can either controlling your LED or either you can check your uh, temperature data, or what are the values of humidity sensor. You can that is published by the embedded web server. If we are controlling uh, some some devices from the web panel, so we can generate a request from the web server by the help of hypertext markup language. So browser can back to the device, send a request to the back to the device, so that it can control the LED. Where it can be you can click on that turn on LED. It will when you click on the turn on the LED should turn on from your on your device which is connected to your device. It will turn on by the changing the request from the server. You requested to the server, and server respond back to your machine or device, and you can see the result of your see your result. What is happening. That is the live example. I can show this demo on the afternoon session, where we can check where we can control the LED from the website. The HTTP protocol, it can take the request from the web browser and send it on TCP/IP. HTTP protocol take the request from the web browser, take request from the web browser and send to the TCP/IP. The TCP/IP protocol pass that request and send it to the embedded application for processing it, as I mentioned described it earlier. So HTTP protocol pass that request and send to the embedded application that may be your turn on LED or fetching new data of sensor. What is the actual value of your sensor device? Sensor is parsing, or what is the new value and old value. You can compare or analyze over the local host or global server. After producing the result, the embedded application generates the HTML code and feed it to the HTML engine, where which send it back to the client using TCP/IP. Here you can check the web browser and web enabled devices, where we have a graphical user interface which have a lot of languages, and you can check Java virtual machine and script phraser and HTML parser and form generator that will send to the request via to HTTP engine to the TCP/IP stack and vice versa. Same method mechanism follow the web-enabled devices, where static web page which have static IP which is provided by us, and embedded application where HTML generator which we design a code to the code for the specific web page, and HTTP engine will decode that and show it on your web browser page. So it will exchange by the help of TCP/IP stack. Advantages and advantages of the web servers. Simplify software and communication. It is simplifies the web server contains dynamic web pages that allows the operator to control and manipulate embedded devices over a TCP/IP network. You can control your network and manipulate your embedded device over the TCP/IP. Offer increased functionality. Web-based GUI offer a tremendous advantage over the traditional control and monitoring system, where the system's GUI is running on operator's computer itself. Unlike this traditional system, which are OS specific and need installations, a web-based GUI is a platform independent and need no installation at the operator's end. Simplifies system management. Web pages can be used to monitor, control, and update the embedded web server system. And any authorized user can access system through a browser on a client to conduct maintenance, change system setting, and update softwares. Where we can use this application with the web accessibility of the embedded devices will get rapid development. The application in communication equipment, information for home appliances, uh, instruments, remote management, and other fields. Embedded web server for embedded devices provide network interfaces to realize the remote management and control, which is an important technology of the network embedded equipment. Main application for the embedded web server is traffic monitoring and video monitoring, power infrastructure monitoring. In this picture, you can see, you can monitor the traffic from the server monitoring room, where you can check how much traffic on the road with the help of camera. The camera is taking picture, continuously taking picture or live video streaming and send to the server. Is it a global server or might be a local server that directly send to the PC, to your PC, to your, and the if you want to share the that video or pictures over the internet, over the or maybe email, you can share it. The main you can, if you want to same time, if you want to do another thing, you have see that a lot of traffic is there, so a system will generate a mail to and send to the another department where a device which can contain the location at this location of this area is heavily traffic. You have to control, send some policeman over there or do another thing for the minimize the traffic over that road. And you same process for the video monitoring and infrastructure monitoring system. You can control it or you can monitor it from anywhere if you have access it globally, or if you have locally, you can check it the only local area net local check it on only in within certain region or networks. Now comes to the last point, which is XML. What is XML? Extensible markup language is a structure of for text so that the information can be stored and transmitted through web services. XML is a structure for is used for the transmitting the web. XML is used to transfer the stored information via web services from web server or web server or via API. Although L in XML stand for language, but it is not programming language. XML is a popular content choice because it is human readable and translate easily to the programming language. XML is a basic language where we can read it normally. It's a general type of thing, and just like English, you can read it and transfer it to in your language. Either you can use it in C, C++, Java. You can write it in your code in your language which you want to write it down. Now comes to the API. What is the API? API is the application programming interface. An API is a set of programming code, act as interface between two different applications. It is the interface between the two different application. As I mentioned earlier, if I talking to someone who is from south side or east side, he's speaking his native language, either he's Asmi or Malayalam. So I can't understand because I don't know. So a middleware is provided to me. I have to set a middleware so that it convert to in my language. Then I will answer to the middleware, and middleware send that information to the another person. So we can communicate with each other is in the easy way. So API doing the same thing. So here we can API act as an interface between two different applications so that they will be communicating with each other. So API is method which the third party vendor can write the program with the other programs. Means third party can it means the the man standing in between us, that is called the third party vendor, which can translate, which can plays the translator role, as I tell him to Hindi and he's converting into Malayalam or Asmi, and he's receiving from another end is Malayalam or Asmi and converted into Hindi, and I get understand, and then I respond back to that person. For example, Google Map APIs and YouTube APIs and mobile APIs are the example of APIs. The difference between the web services and the web APIs. All the web services are the APIs. Means all services which are used by the web server are the APIs, but all APIs are not web services. And second point is web services might not perform all the operation that API would perform. Um, because third party vendor can do lot of thing another, because same example, if I know only Hindi and the middleware know also Hindi and English, Punjabi and a lot of various other thing, and he convert their language to understand me. So I do not perform the same task. So web services might not perform all the operation and the API would perform. Web services use only three style of use: SOAP, REST, and XML, RPC, and for communication where uh, uh, SOAP, REST, and XML, RPC for communication where API may style for communication system call in Linux, and the API can be exposed in a number of ways, which include COM object, DLL, and .h files in C++ programming language, jar files for or RMI in Java, XML over HTTP, JSON over HTTP. The same. Uh, SOAP, the SOAP is the full form of the SOAP is Simple Object Access Protocol. This is a lightweight protocol that is designed for exchange of information and focused on decentralized environment, and it provide a framework to invoke the service across the internet. It also provides the mechanism for enabling cross-platform integration independent of the programming language and distributed object infrastructure. And the information, the XML layer is a meta language that enable cross-platform data interchange using a standard method for encoding and formatting information. Unlike hypertext markup language, XML let's you example you publish information not only how much your data is structured, but also about what it means. That is its text. In addition, the significant benefit occur through the maintenance and XML document is structured content presentation, etc. this and the another layer of the web services is service layer. The interface to the web services is XML based web services, uh, that is WSDL, which have full form web service description layer, which provides all the information,